Good afternoon. This is Law Incorrect. I'm never going to be politically correct because being politically correct, you're going to go insane with all the foolishness that goes on. Having said that, this is my first video, and in this first video I'm going to talk about the Ukraine. Everybody's talking about the Ukraine, but they're not talking about this. Putin had his reasons for going into Ukraine. And I'm going to just give you a little bit to unpack because there's a whole lot that is going on in Ukraine that we are not being told or not made preview to. Now, after World War II, I'm going to keep this real, I'm going to compact this real quick. NATO was established back in 1949 because of the Soviet Union after World War II. To keep the countries safe from the Soviet Union invading Poland and Germany and all the, not even Germany, but the surrounding countries. 1991, the Soviet Union collapses, truly collapses, and they broke up into small countries like Republic of Georgia, Ukraine, oh my goodness, Lithuania, Slovakia, all those countries. Now, keep in mind that NATO was put into place to keep the Soviet Union from invading. Now, what I learned, no, let me backtrack a little bit. That's what it was used for. Now, Gorbachev, before he stepped down and Putin became president, the Warsaw Pact, to where the US-NATO and the Soviet Union signed that. Now, if you look in the history of the US has never, ever honored a treaty. They didn't even hold it, I'm not even going to say that, but the US has never honored a treaty. Never. Ever. Now, having said that, if you look up UCCA, it stands for the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America. What is that doing in the Ukraine? What is the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America doing in the Ukraine? And why are they meshed with the Ukrainian government? It gets a little worse than that. The Ukrainian the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, has a chapter in Illinois, a chapter in Georgia. Now, I'm sure there are other chapters around the United States, and they represent 2 million American Ukrainians that have a vested interest, political interest, in Ukraine. No, that's not supposed to be that way. That's why that you have an embassy. You don't establish some secret government entity that is meshed with another government entity having secret ties together. But it gets worse. The Ukraine is a hotbed for neo-Nazis. You can sit there and argue all you want. Look at fire in the Winter of Fire talks about the Ukraine, the Ukrainian war back in 2014. They should have gone back to 2013. To where they fell into a civil war. Then you have Ukraine on fire. But before I get to Ukraine on fire, the winter of fire is where you see that there is a group called Azov, and Azov is a neo-Nazi militia, and they helped the Ukraine fight not only in the civil war as they imploded, but they kept on fighting, and they were fighting in the Belarus, and also they were fighting the eastern Ukraine, where they had the Russian Ukrainians, where they were beating a slobber knocker out of them. Then they became a part of the military. The militia, Azov militia, became a part of the Ukrainian military. Now, the Ukrainian Congress Committee of America, they bring Ukrainians over here to train. Now, America, always doing stuff like this, brought them over and trained them militarily, giving them tactics and all this other stuff that they need to be successful in war, send them back. And they've been doing this for, I think they stopped in 2000, and all of a sudden they're like, they're hate groups. Like you didn't know that, US? Like you didn't know that? Foolishness. Woof, I'm not even going to let my blood boil. Because of all of this happening, it forced Putin to respond. Oh, and put icing on the cake. Victoria Nuland, she is the Undersecretary of State. She's in the Ukraine, has her black sites. I did a video of that on Big Girl Diary. If you go over there, you can take a look at it. Putin had to do something. Because he was surrounded. If you look at the Warsaw Pact, if you look at all the countries that are in NATO now, there are 30 countries. Take a look at the NATO countries and take a look at where Russia is, former Soviet Union, and see what's going on. And then you'll see why Putin had to do something. Now, if you want to be brainwashed and not think for yourself and just run around and spouting out these talking points, you continue on. But on Law Incorrect, we think here. We look, we research, we just don't take what people say, we look it up for ourselves. So having said all of that, all of this you can look up. I strongly suggest you to go on redozone.com. They have 8,000 newspapers around the world that you can go, and they also have different languages. So if you read different languages, go ahead, go for it. The information is there. However, I want to thank you for listening to what I have to say, Law Incorrect. Because I'm never going to be correct when it comes to politics. They come with a new fad every day, something crazy. So, I want to thank you for taking this journey with me. Please like, subscribe, and keep on coming back, keep on stopping by.